Hello folks, Watchgambit is back. I have been a little bit inactive, a little bit lazy, a little bit unmotivated to do these videos recently, but I'm back. And here's another goodie for you to have a look at. Before that, in the glass today, Baron de Ley 2018, Rioja, nice red. One of the favorites. And on my wrist today is a thing of beauty that I've been searching for a while. Tudor FXD fixed. And maybe the next review is about this one. But today we are having a look at another thing that I bought once. I let it go and had to get one back. That can happen when you are a watch snob, watch freak, watch enthusiast, watch hobbyist. WIS. So we'll have a look at ZRC today. I had a reference 40163 earlier. I sold it for some weird reason, maybe to get money for another watch, but I kind of missed it and I had to get another one to replace it. So this is the reference 41163 Grand Fonds 300, the traditional model. And the difference between the previous one is that this is 1 millimeter bigger, in theory. So suits me well. This is 41.5, which is quite there, smack in the middle of my sweet spot. For those of you who don't know ZRC that much, they are divers with a long, great history and heritage. Right there along with Doxa and Rolex and brands like that. Company was founded in 1904 and they were doing quite a lot of like mechanical things. They were experts in turning machines and machining stuff. So the early 1900s was something like that. They made bracelets for different stuff and specializing in chains for gussets. So it's pocket watches of sorts that were just sort of the prelude to wrist watches. People started to wear pocket watches in their wrist with some modifications early on, so that was their start, and made some innovations during that, and then in the late 1950s, early 60s, they just in a casual conversation became aware of a tender that the French military was running to get some diving watches for the French National Navy, for the clearing crew, and started developing a watch that came to the market 1964. Hence this is a heritage model of 1964 ZRC diver, and ended up getting a contract and supplying these sort of watches for the French Navy all the way until 1995. Then the company went into a little bit of trouble, but then the great grandson of the founder launched this heritage model again in 2015. And Grand Fonds 300 was reborn. That's the short and quick history of this piece. And what a beauty it is, in a French way, different and pretty quirky, wonderful piece of mechanics and a Salita movement inside. So getting into the details, satin finished, of course, steel case, 300 watertight, And of course the things that you notice right away are the crown at 6 o'clock, which has a gimmick built into it. So the bracelet does not allow the crown to come all the way out if it happens to be unscrewed for some reason. Safety feature for the divers. So also, if you've been adjusting your watch and forgot the crown up, the bracelet doesn't go up unless the crown is all the way down. Then there's an innovation in the bezel, which allows all the rubbish and maybe salt residues and stuff to be flushed out from between the bezel and the frame itself by just applying fresh water through the hole in the bezel area. So those are the couple bigger ones in terms of innovation. Another one is the mechanism of diving extension, which is quite unique as well. So the first part of the bracelet has a spring system that allows extension of the bracelet into the thickness of maybe a diving wetsuit being worn under the bracelet. Quite a witty little thing, and compares well to, for example, other brands' diving extensions in a functionality way. And this is really spring loaded, so it really tightens to the thickness that's been defined. There's not a lot of other adjustability in the bracelet, so there are pieces of different sizes and available on their website, but I found a way of getting this adjusted to my thickness quite easily. And putting this bracelet on is a bit tricky because there's this hook and a bar there that connect together, and then you just turn this securing element in the bracelet. You get used to it quite quickly, but it's a little bit of a hassle in the beginning, especially if the bracelet is very snugly fit. I like a little bit of a loose fit, so this works just fine for me. The locking element has a crown in it, which is the same as on the logo of ZRC above the R. Other elements to talk about, I guess, ceramic bezel ring, 3mm thickness crystal, 4800 amps per meter magnetic resistance. Yeah, so, and also the water resistance has been tested up to 1000 meters, even though they guarantee just 300. Selita Elaborate SW200 inside, so approximately 7 seconds per day accuracy, 0 to 14 seconds max per day. Automatic winding, 38 hours power reserve, so your typical Selita stuff. And yeah, that's more or less it from my point of view. Really, really nice design that I like. I like the heritage. The story is relatable, and the watch is beyond reproach regarding the build quality. Everything polished nicely, like you see here. Really sharp case, polished little edge there, brushed top and sides, and What might strike some users is that since the shape of the case is quite flat and the lug to lug is not the shortest one, I'll measure it for you in a second. It might wear a bit awkwardly, but I like a bigger one, and this bracelet just goes right down from the case, so really wears so comfortably, at least for me. Depending on your shape of the wrist, it might rock a little bit on top of the wrist if it's quite rounded, but mine's a bit flat, and I usually wear the watch either in front or behind the collarbone, so it's great. Or what bone this is, I don't know. You tell me what bone that is. I have no idea. I just called it something out of thin air. So yeah, pretty sweet, well finished, great piece. It doesn't get that much publicity, at least here in the Nordic countries. In addition to my previous one and this one, I've seen only one other one in Finland so far. Now, ZRC's distributor in Sweden just visited a watch show in Finland with the full array of ZRC watches, so they might be getting in some orders from around here as well, in addition to mine. So let's have a look at the dims, what they look like. There is no data available of the lug to lug on the website, so let's have a look. This is quite a comfortable 44 and something, so not that bad. Official width 41.5. Bezel 40-ish. And thickness 14.5 approx, so to the top of the crystal, so quite suitably dimensioned, at least for my use. So how to operate the crown? You just have to pull down the bracelet, loosen the crown, pull it out, and then you can operate it. But since there is this safety system, it is a little bit awkward to adjust the time and wind the watch. Whoops, I lost the lights. Doesn't matter. We can utilize that to our advantage regarding the loom in a second. Yeah, a little bit tricky to wind. I've used this thumb technique to do that, but usually I have this watch in a winder because it is a little bit awkward to operate. And let's try to find a flashlight or light of some other sort to have some loom on it. Sorry for the confusion, I just lost the lighting. Surprisingly, this is what happens when the power bank is not fully charged. Let's put some light on this sucker. Turn down the lights as much as we can. And have a look at the loom in just a sec. Pretty spectacular. The camera doesn't really allow to show this in full effect because there's some sort of software correction for the brightness, lightness of it, but it really is working really well. And you see the double dots at 6 o'clock, triple dots at 12 o'clock, and then these single and double dots around the perimetry for each hour. Hands are fully loomed as well and really bright. So lovely piece. And despite the difficulty in lighting condition this time, thanks for watching and see you in the next video. Cheers. Bye bye.